Today we have Philip Zimbardo and another guy over here asking questions. So, Philip, where were you born?
I was born in New York City in March of 1933.
And where'd you go to college?
First, I went to college at Brooklyn in New York, because Brooklyn's in New York, guys. And then I went and got my PhD in psychology at Yale.
Okay, I have some questions for you. How did you make the Stanford prison experiment feel like a real prison?
Well, first we took the doors off of the classrooms and all that and replaced them with, how they do the wrought iron doors in prisons where you can see through it but you can't get through it. We first did that. Then we took everything out of the rooms and just made it to where there was bunks for them. And we only made it like 3 to a room. And then after that, to use as solitary, we did a closet, a small 3x8 closet where you can stand, you can't sit, the only thing you can do is stand up. And then we used other people as guards, and we regulated visiting hours, and no one could go down there besides the prisoners and the guards, and so pretty much it was just like that.
Oh wow. What was the process that the inmates went through upon arrival of the experiment?
Well, first they got arrested at their houses as if they were actually being real prisoners. Then they were taken there, they were stripped down, searched all over, you know what that means. Mm-hmm. And then they were shaved, their heads were shaved as to not give them individuality, because their hair shows individuality through all of them, so they'd all be dehumanized and put all as the same. And then they were given numbers instead of names, and that's what they were referred to the whole time as numbers.
Okay, and how did the guards settle into their roles throughout the entire experiment?
The guards settled into their roles by, at first they were kind of iffy on what they needed to do, like if they needed more force or not more force. But as they got through, they learned that they can, instead of using force as they figured out, they can play mind games with them almost and just bend them to their will through that, using privileges and other things like that.
How were those privileges used to keep the prisoners in check?
Well, they used the privileges as when one of they had a small uprising almost, where they boarded themselves in their rooms. They got the ones that were least cooperative in there, made this special room with beds and TVs and all that, left them in there for a couple hours, threw them back in, and then put the leaders in there to show to see if they flipped, to show the other ones that they flipped, and maybe then the prisoners believed it. And so there was no unity after that in between all of them. They just hated one another because they thought each one flipped on each other.
And what were some of the effects of the prison experiment?
There was some of them mentally broke down, mentally insane almost. Some of them turned into bad people from what they had to go through. Their guards at the beginning were bad people, but they ended up having to use force and were being pretty mean, using physical punishment instead of taking away things. They'd use physical punishment more, and there was no unity by the end between all of them as they didn't trust one another.
And how many people did you use for your experiment?
24, but most of them, there was only 9 prisoners, and I think 9 guards, and then 6 were, there was 3 extra guards, and then 3 extra prisoners in case one went out and couldn't go, so they'd put another one in.
And during the time the prisoners were in prison, and you talked about their uprising, how did the guards react to it?
The guards at first didn't know what to do. They were wondering if they should use the force, or they should try to talk them out of it.
Like Star Wars?
Yeah, pretty much. Just force. And ultimately they decided in the end of it that they would just call in all the other extra guards and the night shift guards that they do, since there's only 3 at a time, and then they would all just go in there and pretty much beat them into submission. And then they after that they realized that they couldn't do that all the time, because not every guard so they decided that's when they decided to use the mind games on and special privileges.
Okay, and how long was the experiment supposed to last?
It was supposed to last 2 weeks at most,
And how long did it last?
about 4 or 5 days.
Wow. Can you name off a couple other projects that you're doing other than the prison experiment?
The prison experiment was the Lucifer effect, so we did that one, the time perspective theory, and the heroic imagination project, and the social intensity syndrome are all the ones that I've worked on.
All right. Very nice.
Well, thank you for joining us.
For talking. See y'all later.